how I got over.
It wasn't easy being an opera singer during my time, but in spite of what I went through, I refused to let negativity be a part of me. Anger and bitterness cannot be hidden. It will show in your face. There's no place for bitterness in singing. It works on the vocal cords and ruins the voice. I look back and know now it was my parents teaching me about hard work and being God-fearing. My own strong determination to succeed, and by the grace of God, is what brought me through. Camilla Williams.
How I got over. How I got over. You know my soul looks back and wonder how I got.
Hi there, my name is Chelsea Hillis and I'm a senior marketing major at Averett University, and I had the pleasure and privilege of being on the Camilla Williams project as their summer intern. When I first came to Danville a couple years ago to go to school, I had no idea who Camilla Williams was, except that she had a park in her name. One of the things that she mentioned about her students was that she taught them that if they relied not on themselves, but on the power of God's Spirit in and around them, there was no limit to what they could do. And that was probably one of the most inspiring things about being on the Camilla Williams project. We brought in the spirit of humanity in all of these different events.
While exploring Miss Williams' life and her career journey, the truth in the African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," resonated with me. It was the black and white citizens of Danville, with their encouragement, their financial support, their respect and love, that allowed Miss Williams to fulfill her purpose in life. Her purpose as a person and as an opera singer.
I had a wonderful childhood. We grew up among family, friends, and neighbors who were like family. We didn't have much, but we were happy, and we always had love. Our parents instilled church, education, and music in us. There was music throughout the neighborhood. Camilla Williams.
She lived around the corner from my mother and I was just a little boy, about 5 or 6 years old. And Camilla used to come by the house and on Sunday morning and take me to Sunday school. And I always will remember her for those times that she took us to Sunday school. My mother that was ready on the porch, and she would come by and take my brother and I and girls to Sunday school and bring us, and then my mother would pick us up at church and bring us back home. Back during the day, the people didn't let children just walk. And although there wasn't many cars on the street, but they still held her hand. She took my brother by the hand and me in the other hand, and she walked us to church.
I am Bonnie Brumfield, and my father was Herman Kushner. And he began working for Metropolitan Life Insurance Company in 1933. And as a child, I would love to go with him on what he called his debits, his routes, where he went to his customers and his clients and he collected their insurance premiums. Many of my father's clients were members of the African American community, and among his clients was Camilla Williams's mother. One time we went to the home of Camilla Williams's mother, and he introduced me to Mrs. Williams, and then he turned to me in front of Mrs. Williams and said, "You know, her daughter is Camilla Williams, and she's a famous opera singer." And I believe Mrs. Williams probably showed me some pictures of her daughter. Well, that didn't mean a whole lot to me because as a child of around 10, I didn't even know what an opera singer was. But what did mean something to me was after we left the home of Mrs. Williams, my father turned to me and he said, and these words have stayed with me for 60-odd years, and these words have formed my opinion of Camilla Williams. My father said, Mrs. Williams's daughter remodeled and refurbished her home, and I thought, wow, for a daughter to do that for her mother, for her to be so generous and gracious to her mother, to take her mother's home and make it beautiful and comfortable. Camilla Williams didn't say to her mother, "Hey Mom, I'm going to buy you a mansion over here." She didn't say to her mother, "Come live with me in the big city." Instead, she beautified her mother's house, and in this way, I think of Camilla Williams as a kind and generous daughter to her mother.
If I got my ticket, Lord, if I got my ticket, Lord.
My name is Dolores Hargraves Davis. I had the good fortune of growing up in the same church that Camilla Williams was a member of. And it was just such a delight to hear about her through the years. The highlight of that came when I went to Virginia State and our choir went on tour, including New York City. Before the tour, I wrote to her and told her where we were going to sing and was hoping that it would be in her schedule to attend the concert. And sure enough, she was there. I was just wild with joy that she had taken, a famous person like that had taken the time to come to hear the choir sing. She's very complimentary of the choir. And then, to my delight, she asked our choir director if I could go home with her. And she said, "I promise you she'll be safe. I'll get her back here on time." And he said yes. And again, I was just wild. And all of my friends were saying, "How do you know her? How do you know her?" I said, "Oh, we go way back." We go way back. I even had the nerve to call her Camilla instead of Miss Williams. I slipped up and called her that, which she didn't mind. At any rate, when I got to her apartment, I thought that I was in a shoot for maybe House Beautiful magazine. It was a gorgeous apartment with gifts that she had received from people all over the world. I was just delighted to hear that. Then we went on a tour of the apartment, and she had what I found out was an efficiency kitchen. You open up a door like this, and there was something that looked like an easy bake oven, tiny, tiny stove and a tiny refrigerator. And she fixed lunch for us. I couldn't believe that. Good cook too. So that was the highlight of my trip to New York City. Being able to spend time with her and to kind of show off and brag that, yes, I know Camilla Williams.
This story is called The Crouton, or in French, perhaps the Crouton. It's the story that happened at my house when Camilla Williams gave a concert in Danville, sponsored by the Danville Concert Association. It was a thrill to think that I could have a party for her following the concert. Camilla came with Charles Webb, who was the director of the School of Music of the University of Indiana. It was a place I always wanted to go myself for graduate work. But when Charles Webb came to my house, I thought that it was the most fantastic thing, and to think that he was going to accompany Camilla. In my living room, Charles Webb played the piano, holding forth. In another room of the house was Camilla in her gorgeous outfit, absolutely gorgeous, talking to friends as they passed her and telling stories we all loved. I was in the kitchen preparing the food. At one point, I had these wonderful waiters come in to the room where Camilla was with these silver trays, and on the silver tray was a demi-tasse cup and spoon. In the cup, we had a delightful tasting something. And they began to, "Oh, what is this? My goodness, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is?" Nobody knew what it was. And I never told anybody what it is. I'm going to tell you. It was Campbell's soup, tomato soup, with one crouton on top. So thank you, Miss Camilla Williams. We love you, Madama Williams.
was about 20 people in the room listening to this small radio. And it was a very, very small room, because we had a very small room, but about 20 people across the street, the cooks, the beers, all of them was across the street were there listening to the radio. So it was more of people got in groups on the whole neighborhood to hear her, because they all knew her, and they just wanted to be sure that they had an opportunity to hear it. I don't think my mother and father would let us miss it for nothing in the world. They made sure we were there. Went outside playing, inside listening to that radio. We got a chance to stay up a little late because the opera took a long time. And so we got a chance to stay up a little later that night.
My name is Cedric Harrison. We know that Miss Williams was not just a local singer, she was an international singer. She sung all across the world to many different companies, representing and performing in front of kings, presidents, and other foreign dignitaries. We were able to provide a scholarship in Mrs. Williams' name under the George Shirley International Vocal Competition that takes place each year annually at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. So we are very proud that Danville will be represented and that Mrs. Camilla Williams will have a scholarship that will be named after her, so that all of those individuals from all across the world will be able to say, who is this lady? And it will be so inspiring to us to know that this lady came from Danville, Virginia.
My name is Nettie Burrell Warner. I am a member of Opera Ebony Concert Guild. The Guild was formed to provide concert and opera music. One of the highlights of the Guild was bringing Leontine Price to Danville. She performed on the same stage that Miss Camilla Williams performed.
I remember a time when I couldn't go into the building, which houses the Danville Museum of Fine Arts and History, due to segregation. Now, look at me. I'm in its Hall of Fame. Camilla Williams.
Creative language is a language that everybody understands. We can be in our separate political corners, but that really is not truthful. Those are all masks, and when you come together around the creative arts, that's when the truth surfaces. Thank you, Camilla Williams.
I had a wonderfully blessed and successful career. I sang in some of the most prestigious opera houses and concert stages around the world. Not bad for a little black girl from Danville, Virginia. Camilla Williams.
Mm-hmm.